Hello, I am Christian Drapeau. Today, I would like to talk about Acidophilus and Bifidus and probiotics in general. And to do this, I will take you on an insightful journey through the digestive system to where these friendly bacteria live. First, what are Acidophilus, Bifidus, and all the bacteria present in the spectrabiotic product? These are bacteria that live in our digestive system. They are essential for the proper functioning of our digestive system and our body as a whole, and should not be confused with pathogenic bacteria that are responsible for various illnesses. It is not possible to have a sterile digestive system, that is, a digestive system that does not contain bacteria. With anything you consume, a glass of water or a glass of juice, you are taking on bacteria. In any kind of food, there are always bacteria. In the air you breathe, there are bacteria. So to prevent the proliferation of potentially pathogenic bacteria in the digestive system, we developed a friendship with specific bacteria, the most notable being Lactobacillus, Acidophilus, and Bifidus. These bacteria help digest the food we eat, they help maintain a proper pH in the intestinal tract, they secrete natural antibiotics that prevent the growth of unfriendly bacteria or pathogenic bacteria, and they secrete vitamins. In other words, they are absolutely essential. The 2 or 3 pounds of friendly bacteria that we have in our digestive system could almost be considered an organ of our body. But to fully understand the potential for good intestinal flora, let's take a brief journey through the digestive system. Good digestion begins in the mouth with the proper chewing of the food. This step is essential for the proper functioning of the entire digestive system. When the food is well mixed with the saliva, it goes into the stomach, where it is mixed with proteolytic enzymes and hydrochloric acid. The purpose of both the chewing and the contractions of the stomach with the gastric juice is to pre-digest the food enough in order to make it digestible by the pancreatic enzymes. At this stage, proteins and complex sugars have been broken down into fairly small pieces of food. When the food is pre-digested properly, the content of the stomach is poured into the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. The duodenum is the part of the intestine where the pancreas secretes pancreatic digestive enzymes and the gallbladder secretes bile. Acidophilus lives throughout the whole digestive system, but it is here in the duodenum and the small intestine that we find the highest concentration. Again, with an initial adequate chewing of the food and a good predigestion by the stomach, the particles of food in the small intestine are small enough to be digested into still smaller particles by the pancreatic enzymes. At this stage, essential nutrients such as small peptides and disaccharides are broken down at the surface of the intestinal wall and absorbed into the blood. Let's have a closer look at this. The surface of the intestine is covered with billions of villi that are similar to small hairs, which in turn are covered with microvilli. This extensive folding dramatically increases the surface area of the intestinal wall. If we were to spread the whole intestinal wall to obtain a flat surface, it would cover a tennis court. Such a surface area in a tube about the size of a cucumber means that the lining of the intestine is extremely thin, actually 1 cell thick. That makes the surface so fragile that it is renewed every 5 days. When food accumulates on this surface, because of improper digestion, this may damage the wall of the intestine. A good intestinal flora will scavenge any deposit and clean the wall. It is on the microvilli that the final digestion takes place and where nutrients are absorbed. Here, they go through the bloodstream to the liver and from there into the whole body to nourish our hundreds of trillions of cells. The indigestible foodstuff like fibers and cellulose, continue their journey through the large intestine until they leave the human body along with intestinal bacteria. The large intestine is also the site where water exchanges takes place. Although Bifidus lives throughout the digestive system, it is here that we find the highest concentration. Now, This is the way our digestive systems were intended to operate. However, because the average diet includes food without friendly bacteria and our chewing habits are less than perfect, the digestive system does not always function properly. Here are some of the problems that can occur. First, when the food that is swallowed is barely chewed, the gastric juice and the contractions of the stomach cannot properly pre-digest the food to make it available for the pancreatic enzymes. With such big particles of food, the pancreatic enzymes cannot do their work properly, and the proteins and sugars cannot be broken down to a size that can be absorbed easily by the intestinal wall. This leads to poor absorption of the food, but here is the real problem. The undigested food that is not absorbed becomes food for the unfriendly bacteria and putrefaction develops. This unfriendly bacterial growth takes place along the wall of the intestine, where it produces toxic substances and changes the pH. In these areas, the wall of the intestine no longer renews itself properly, and we end up with what we could call a leaky gut. Undigested proteins may gain access to the bloodstream. Now, two things may take place. In the bloodstream, these polypeptides may be recognized by the immune system as strangers and may trigger a full immune reaction. This unnecessarily fatigues the immune system. But more serious, some polypeptides may resemble proteins that we have in our body, and in this case, the immune system may turn against the body and provoke an autoimmune reaction. This is the case, for example, when the bacteria Klebsiella grows in the digestive system. This bacteria secretes a peptide that resembles a protein found in the upper body of some people, and the immune reaction leads to a disease called ankylosing spondylitis, the inflammation of the shoulder joints. A leaky gut can also facilitate the passage of fungus like Candida albicans into the blood. Here, with the use of the Bradford microscope, we can see such fungus in the blood. Some kind of fungus are known to cross the intestinal wall by a phenomenon called diapesis, which literally means a foot across. The presence of fungus into the blood may lead to a problem called disseminated intravascular coagulation, which means that the blood coagulates more easily, too easily actually, and this may be the cause of many health problems. Now, what can we do to avoid all this? The first thing, as you have probably guessed, is to chew our food properly. As a rule, we should chew our food enough as to literally drink it. Second, we should consistently add to our food digestive enzymes in order to help for a better predigestion in the stomach. But really, one of the most important things we can do for a healthy digestive system is to eat Acidophilus, Bifidus, and the bacteria present in Spectrabiotics. In the past, before the advent of refrigeration, the food was preserved through lactofermentation, which is fermentation with lactic bacteria, Acidophilus being one of them. A good example is sauerkraut. Today, all our food is preserved in the refrigerator and we are deprived of friendly bacteria. Furthermore, modern food technology typically involves a sterilization process, such as pasteurization, to remove unfriendly bacteria. However, with this process, we also lose the friendly bacteria. The chlorination of water can also destroy all the bacteria in the gut, whether it is friendly or not. So, the absence of regular intake of Acidophilus and Bifidus may promote the growth of unfriendly bacteria, which could in turn initiate all the problems that we just described. Acidophilus and Bifidus help maintain a good integrity of the intestinal wall and prevent the growth of unfriendly bacteria. This topic is quite vast. If I were to leave you with only one short message, it would be: a good intestinal flora is not an option. It is to be considered truly just as an essential organ of the body. Acidophilus, Bifidus, and probiotics in general are essential for the proper equilibrium of the human body. I am Christian Drapeau. Have a nice day. Hello, I am Christian Drapeau. Today I would like to talk to you about digestive enzymes, how they are produced, their role in the digestive system, and what is specific about Celtech's digestive enzymes. But first, let's briefly describe what enzymes are. Enzymes are proteins that act as catalysts in every chemical reaction that takes place within our bodies. The lives of all of our cells would be impossible without proper, sufficient, and coordinated enzymatic activity. In fact, each of us, as with all living organisms, could be regarded in one sense as merely an orderly integrated succession of enzyme reactions. The number of enzymes in our body is overwhelming. Each chemical reaction that takes place requires its specific enzyme or set of enzymes to occur. And each enzyme has a specific function. Basically, the action of an enzyme is determined by its amino acid sequence, its shape, and the distribution of electrical charges within the enzyme itself. Let's go into a little more detail. Since enzymes are proteins, they are made of amino acids. The human body uses 20 different amino acids to build proteins and enzymes. Just like proteins, enzymes are chains of amino acids. To put it another way, amino acids are like an alphabet of 20 letters, and each enzyme is like a word made out of this alphabet. Some of the amino acids bear electrical charges so that attractions and repulsions occur within the enzyme. These attractions and repulsions make the enzyme fold in on itself until it assumes a three-dimensional shape. The enzyme, with this characteristic shape, its amino acid sequence, and its distribution of electrical charges is then ready to bind to a specific molecule and initiate a chemical reaction like cleaving a molecule apart. After this happens, the enzyme resumes its initial active state, ready to accomplish this very same reaction over and over again. Broadly speaking, there are two categories of enzymes. There are metabolic enzymes that assist in performing thousands of chemical reactions that take place throughout the body, and there are digestive enzymes. The role of the digestive enzymes is directly related to the chemical breakdown of food. They accomplish in just a few hours what would in nature take weeks. An example of what I mean is this. Take an apple and expose it to normal conditions. 3 weeks later, it is still an apple. But put an apple in your stomach, and by the end of the day, it is not an apple anymore. There are three categories of digestive enzymes: lipases, which digest lipids, that is, fat; proteases, which digest proteins; and those enzymes generally referred to as amylases, which digest sugars and carbohydrates. And of course, each category is composed of many different types of digestive enzymes. For example, in the amylase family, there is cellulase that digests cellulose, there is lactase that digests lactose, and amylase itself that digests starch. Now that we know what enzymes are, what do digestive enzymes specifically do in a normal, healthy digestive system? It is important to understand that under ideal conditions, the body receives and secretes all the digestive enzymes required for the complete digestion of the food we eat. The first place where digestive enzymes act is in the mouth. With proper chewing, our saliva is well mixed with our food, and the salivary enzymes initiate the digestive process. In the stomach, properly chewed food is then pre-digested. That is, big pieces of food are broken down into smaller pieces that are digested later by pancreatic enzymes in the small intestine. The stomach is more or less a sac where the food gets ready for the real digestion that takes place in the small intestine. So when the food is properly pre-digested in the stomach, it goes into the small intestine where the approximately 2 daily gallons of pancreatic secretions accomplish the final digestion and extract the nutrients for efficient absorption. In addition, to be properly pre-digested in the stomach, food requires the presence of those digestive enzymes normally present in raw foods. Every food contains enzymes that would facilitate digestion. However, since enzymes are very sensitive to heat, normal cooking procedures destroy them and render our food enzyme deficient. Canned, pasteurized, baked, roasted, fried, boiled, steamed, or microwaved food are all enzyme deficient. So, since the normal North American diet is lacking in raw fruits and vegetables, it does not provide enzymes that are essential for proper predigestion in the stomach. And when the food is not predigested properly, the pancreatic enzymes cannot achieve proper digestion. Pieces of food remain in the digestive system where they become food for the unfriendly bacteria with very undesirable consequences. The solution to this problem is to supplement your diet with digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes help for a complete predigestion of the food in the stomach and gently cleanse the intestine by breaking down undigested food attached to the intestinal wall. In addition to this essential role in the stomach and intestine, digestive enzymes also seem to play a very beneficial role in digesting macromolecules of fat and protein in the blood. The causes of several serious health problems have been linked to the presence of excess amounts of fat or protein in the blood. It has been observed that digestive enzymes eaten in sufficient amounts between meals seem very effective at improving these conditions. Now, how are digestive enzymes produced? As mentioned before, all foods contain digestive enzymes or enzymes that will digest protein, fat, and sugar. All living organisms contain digestive enzymes, and for a long time, enzymes were derived from papayas and pineapples, as well as from powdered porcine and bovine pancreas, and used as digestive aids. Today, the most widely used digestive enzymes are produced by two species of absolutely non-toxic fungi, Aspergillus oryzae and Aspergillus niger. Aspergilli are very interesting organisms. Instead of absorbing small pieces of food and then digesting them, they secrete digestive enzymes which digest the food present in the medium on which they grow. After a period of time, the medium filled with digestive enzymes is transferred into capsules. Given the proper conditions, the amount of enzymes present and the enzymatic activity of the final product will depend upon the medium used and the length of time Aspergillus was allowed to grow in it. The digestive enzymes produced by Aspergillus oryzae and Aspergillus niger are active in a pH spectrum range from 2 to 12, which allows them to be active everywhere in the digestive system. The final product is always thoroughly tested to make sure it does not contain any residual growth of fungus or microorganisms of any kind. Now, what is so specific about Celtx enzymes? As mentioned before, enzymes are very specific. If we take a protein, for example, there are specific proteases that cut a protein chain at specific points, let's say after lysine or alanine or between any of the amino acids. Each protease is very specific for a given amino acid. Now, to have a very good and complete digestion, we need as much enzymatic diversity as possible in order to cut the proteins into pieces as small as they can possibly be cut. Many enzymes present in the market today come from the meat industry. They are used to soften meat. They may have a very high enzymatic activity, but they have very little enzymatic diversity. So if you eat these enzymes, even if their enzymatic activity is high, you will get only partial digestion. Celtx enzymes have a great diversity and allow for a complete digestion of food proteins in the stomach. In addition, there is no governmental standard of regulation for the value of a unit of enzymatic activity as printed on a bottle label. 1,000 units of any given brand may be equal to 10,000 units of another brand. So, because of the diversity factor and the lack of standardization, the number of units that is written on your bottle is a poor indicator of the actual quality of your enzymes. In conclusion, what are the keys for good digestion and consequently for radiant health? Eat more raw food, chew your food properly, and eat Celtx highly active, broad-spectrum food enzymes. And remember that the integrity of the company from whom you are getting your enzymes is by far a better indicator of quality than units of enzymatic activity listed on a bottle label. I am Christian Drapeau. Have a nice day, and don't dine without enzymes.